Now looking at the Chicago Bears, you took the last one first, so I guess I'll take this one. Unfortunately, we're barred from talking about Chicago for more than 5 minutes on the podcast, so get your timers out. I'm giving this one a C. I'm not sure what Ryan Poles is doing, if I'm being honest. Re-sign Jalen Johnson. Fantastic. Yeah. You should re-sign the best player on your defense. Absolutely, especially when he's only, 24 years old. Running back position is a luxury. Why are you paying DeAndre? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And he's the first running back. He's the first player to be reported for the free agent tampering period. As soon as 9 o'clock hit, bro. Bam. Popped up on my feed. I just don't get it. I do like the Gerald Everett signing, actually quite a bit. It's a productive player for $6 million a year. You have a good tandem there. Kind of throws the Brock Bowers things out the window a little bit because I was kind of playing around with that scenario a little bit in my head. And then the Ryan Bates trade for a fifth. You need offensive line help. I think he's more going to be a rotational guy anyways. But then the Kevin Byard thing, 2 years, 7.5, a guy who did not play well last year for Philly at all. And he got traded for a reason to Philly for a low round pick. He's not Kevin Byard from a couple of years ago. I'm just not a fan of this. This is a C. If you get rid of the DeAndre Swift thing, you can maybe sway me to a C+ or B-. But the DeAndre Swift thing, again, running back is a luxury, and the Kevin Byard contract is not good to me. I do not like it.
Yeah, this is a D+ to me because that defense is already good. The Kevin Byard thing, it makes absolute zero sense to me. And
yeah,
especially if you consider safety a need, there is a ton of safety help out there right now. Every team in the NFL cut a safety, it feels like. They're all just like, cut that safety. You get a safety. You get a safety. Like, the NFL is the Oprah Winfrey of safeties right now, and you picked him? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And then it's the same thing. It's like, okay, Derrick Henry, okay, Saquon Barkley, okay, Josh Jacobs, okay. And then it's like, DeAndre Swift, come on down. The dude had one good season. And all of his production was front loaded to the beginning of the season before he wore down later in the year.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just like Gerald Everett. I like it. And you didn't have to overpay Jalen Johnson to keep him. You got Jalen Johnson, a player that you were considering trading at the deadline last year. You signed him to a really good contract, one that should be fairly easy for him to play up to.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm looking a little out of my side eye on that one, just because I hate the Kevin Byard thing, and the DeAndre Swift stuff, like that contract, the money, grading the money, which I said I wasn't going to do, Captain Contradictory here, doesn't seem bad. Like, it seems like $7-8 million for a running back that rushed for 1,000 yards last year. Okay, I'm in. But on day one, minute one, second one, you got what if they had just waited and they swooped in and picked up Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones, yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Hello? DeAndre Swift was your answer. That's what you guys thought, Caleb Williams and DeAndre Swift. That's what we're supposed to be worried about. That just, I would like that. I would like that pick a little bit more if they'd signed a big body bruiser guy. Like, if it had been,
they have Roschon Johnson.
And I
like Roschon.
But if it had been 7 or 8 days into free agency and they picked up DeAndre Swift and AJ Dillon and they came out and they're like, we're keeping Justin Fields. And it's like, oh, I see what you're doing here. You got Justin Fields' mobility. You got AJ Dillon, who's a bruiser. You got DeAndre Swift. That makes sense. But you're going to roll into the season with DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams. That to me is just, it's weird. Like, again, the timing of it, I'm failing you on the timing of it. Like, we're sitting there. Oh, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. DeAndre Swift. And I'm like, what the but why? Excuse me. Can I ask a question, please? Chicago, what the hell are you? And the thing is listen, guess who's still on the Chicago Bears roster?
The guy who has no trade value.
And spoiler alert for all you Chicagoans, it's not because they're thinking of keeping him. It's because nobody wants him. They're talking about traded him for a backup. They're talking about him being traded as a backup. And listen, we're going to go live on this podcast, and I'm going to wear my Trey Lance jersey, and I'm going to talk so much shit to the Dallas Cowboys fans that Jerry Jones traded a 4th-round pick for Trey Lance when Mac Jones and Justin Fields got traded for less, because that's what's going to happen. That's what's coming down the pipe when Justin Fields goes for like 2/5 and Mac Jones went for a bag of Cheetos, and Trey Lance went for a fourth, and I'm going to laugh. So
half a bag of Cheetos.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get more.
I just Chicago, what are you doing? What are we doing? It's a big draft for you. That defense rocks. There's a lot of good safety help out there. Kevin Byard, he's like 47. I just Derrick Henry was out there. Aaron Jones is out there. There's a lot of talent out there, and y'all were like, oh yeah, bring me down DeAndre Swift. I just don't.
Stacked free agent period, and the guy that is immediately at the top of your call list is DeAndre Swift is definitely a little bit wild. When speaking about the draft, obviously we don't have to talk about the first pick, but they do have the 9th pick, which they are currently slated for a wide receiver. Now, obviously, they didn't address barely anything offensively outside of Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift, which isn't going to make any difference regardless to draft anybody. Right now, the most popular spot is Rome to go there. Honestly, with the whispers right now, they might have to trade up to go get Rome at that. Like, Rome might not fall at 9. If Rome doesn't fall at 9, there's no Malik Neighbors, no Rome, no Marvin Harrison Jr. Do you reach on Brian Thomas because you believe in the ability? You don't draft defense. You could go offensive line, I guess. Who's sitting there? Troy Fautanu, Talisi Fuaga. I guess that's where you're going. You don't really have a choice, but then you're at that point where you go, I don't really have a choice. I needed offensive firepower, and I got duds. I had to go get my trench guys. Cool. You need a little bit of help on that offensive line, but you also need some other help on the other side of DJ Moore because Darnell Mooney is gone, and there's who else is there? I can't even think about who wide receiver 2 is now for them. So,
well, they got a bunch of free agents. I mean, they could bring back Amon-Ra's little brother, or they could bring back not Darnell Mooney, but there's another one. Who's the tackle? Fashanu?
Yeah.
If they went there at 9, I wouldn't honestly hate that. But if Rome is gone, if Neighbors are gone at number 9, I think it's a trade back.
I think it's a good opportunity.
Or maybe, they got a little bit of money. Maybe you call up the Bengals and see if you can do, your pick for T. Higgins and the Bengals pick or something like that. Bringing in Caleb Williams and having him DJ Moore and T. Higgins that's. But again, I'm excited for Chicago. You cut Eddie Jackson and bring in Byard. I don't understand it. And I know safeties play different positions. They're not all interchangeable, but that doesn't make any sense